Right, good day, Emaswati Lamahle. Once again, we're doing our Finance in Focus discussion. And this week, I felt like there's just so many moving parts. It feels like there's so much happening at the moment, and it's just creating a lot of anxiety, maybe is the right word. So I thought I'll just maybe touch on a few issues today, just everyone understands what are we doing as a ministry, what are we doing as government around some of these financial things going on currently. So one of the main ones is the VAT. We had a session on the VAT to unpack it very clearly, but now that it seems like South Africa has gone ahead with the 0.5% VAT increase from the 1st of May 2025, as a government SR20, we will be trying to follow suit. So we will be tabling, Cabinet has already approved it, we'll be tabling it in Parliament, and to try and pursue the 0.5% increase as well. Like I say, it's really to avoid a very difficult time that one will actually have at the border in case we don't do it. When we have had a disparity before, it's not impossible, but it is very difficult to get goods across with the different monies that now need to change hands with every set of goods that go across. And Emaswati themselves must put in claims, whichever way it goes. But to try and counter this, we have got a few of those products that we'll be adding to the list of non-vettable items, and we do believe helping to cushion people from the 0.5% impact that it might have to households. The second issue I thought we'll talk about is the fuel levy. Obviously, the newspapers have covered it quite well by now. There's been a lot of movement on that. One will recall that it was passed a long time ago. Actually, it's taken us a long time to implement this 40 cents. For about a year, the legislation has been passed, and we just haven't implemented the 40 cents increase. The time has come for us to do it now, and it really was because the road agency that we have ready to set up is now ready to start. And so the Ministry of Works it will be looking after this agency and really making sure, and we should as citizens start seeing our maintenance of our roads in time. It will take a few months to get going, but in time we should see this 40 cents actually having a direct impact on the quality of the maintenance of our roads in Eswatini. So that is the plan, and hopefully, even though one is paying slightly more for the fuel, hopefully one's getting the benefit from having less potholes and having even our gravel roads being upgraded better. And so that's what we're trying to do there. But we managed to do it at a time when the fuel price was kind of dropping. And so with the fuel price dropping and adding the 40 cents, we just timed it so that there wasn't an impact to Emaswati. But I think obviously we're not trying to bluff anybody. It is an additional 40 cents on the fuel price. In time, that 40 cents will obviously find its way into having a direct impact on our pockets as time goes on, if one can see it that way. Then again, the USAID funding that has dropped off for Eswatini, there's still discussions going on to find out what exactly is finally not in the funding. And I think next week, with our final discussions taking place, if we just have a very clear picture on that. As a government, though, we have now been having a very close look to see what could we possibly continue funding as government. Obviously, we cannot come close to picking up the whole bill of what is being done, but we're looking at what we're looking at to say what is critical in that and what do we feel is life-saving. The Ministry of Health is working very well on that. Even as Cabinet this week, we had a look at that to see what we could do from a government perspective and how we can fund certain things in that space, just to make sure that the impact of those measures do not have a dire consequence on our nation and on our people. Obviously, with jobs being lost, that is a very tough element of what has gone on. But unfortunately, government can't just step in the gap and look after everybody. But it's seeming like there's some places where government should step in and make sure that one picks up some of the slack that has been caused from the funding drop-off from the US. The next matter, obviously making headlines every day almost, are these tariffs that are being imposed by the USA. People referring to them as, Trump tariffs. And as a country, we're finding ourselves to be very fortunate in the fact that we've had a positive trade balance to the United States for a while. So over the last 5 years, I think the numbers are about $2 billion worth of emalangeni, which which means that we have been importing more from the USA than what we've been exporting to the USA, meaning that when the USA did that calculation, they found that Eswatini was actually, tariffs on us is not necessary because we actually buy more from them than what we sell to them. The countries that found themselves in the opposite position are the countries that have higher tariffs. And depending how big the difference was on the trade balance is really the higher the tariff was. And so we do find some of our countries in Southern Africa with massive ones, but virtually all the other countries in our region have got higher than 10% than Eswatini. And so, but even the 10% is still not nice. It is still an impact on us. We do export some products to the USA. Sugar seems like won't be impacted that much. So we have heard from the Sugar Association to say the impact does seem to be minimized. At the same time, we then have textiles that still go to the USA, and we had a much higher volume of textiles before. But when we lost AGOA, if one will recall, a few years ago, even though we got it back, when we lost it, a lot of jobs were lost in Eswatini, and that exports through AGOA to the USA dropped off and hasn't really come back. And so we do have some exports taking place to the USA. We are hoping that the 10% will not have an impact on that, especially because in the region and across the world, actually, that specifically the textile industry will be very hard hit in those countries. So in a sense, there might even be opportunities for Eswatini to expand in that space and to actually attract more investors to actually open up supplier base for the USA from Eswatini. But at the same time, then we also have art and crafts, a bit of that goes to the USA as well. And there again, my view is there shouldn't be an impact of the 10%. A lot of it is supply chains that are quite well established, as well as even elements of charity supply chains or even the Christian supply chains. And our feeling is those won't be impacted by the 10%. So overall, again, an impact. The impact is looking like it might have a higher impact in the region, and so neighboring countries to Eswatini might be affected, even though they might be affected worse than us, because our economies are so interlinked. Probably there is a risk there for us as Emaswati, where our currency is linked to the South African rand, as well as the fact that our economy is so interlinked with South Africa, that we might find that in case there is a bigger impact in South Africa, there could be a ripple effect coming to us as Eswatini. But the impacts of this tariff then are seen as more indirect impacts rather than direct impact for us as a country. So we'll be analyzing this on a constant basis, constantly seeing what best we can do as a government to try and make sure that we do the right thing, the best possible thing under the circumstances, and we remain vigilant to try to protect our country and our economy from these impacts. Thank you very much.